I'm Elysia.
Hi, I'm Viviana.
So we're forensic artists. We've just graduated Forensic Art and Facial Identification at the University of Dundee.
And at the moment we are working with the Edinburgh City Council Archaeological Services to reconstruct faces from remains excavated from the tram project.
Yeah, the Edinburgh City Tram project. So the City Tram line is extending at the moment, and they went through a medieval cemetery, and we've got some of the remains which we're going to be working with, and we're hopefully going to explain to you how we do that. So please do excuse the face mask. We'll try and speak a little bit louder to accommodate for that, but apologies. So this skeletal element is part of the cranium, which is the top part of the skull of skeleton number 12, which we believe to be a 20 to 35-year-old man from the medieval Edinburgh Tram project excavation group. It's currently being housed at the University of Dundee and is associated with Garda Archaeology and obviously Edinburgh City Council Archaeology Services. So what we first do is we take an element like this and we look it all over just to make sure there's no pathologies, we can assess the damage of it, and we know what we're looking at. So obviously this is the top part of the back of somebody's head. So what we need to do is we need to take this and turn it into a digital resource so we can work from it, because we don't want to damage this while we're doing a reconstruction. Traditionally, you would piece back the skull together and then do all the processes in a physical form with clay on top of the skull. We've now got past that, and we can work with technologies and 3D print another skull, a version of this skull, and do a physical reconstruction, or we can do a digital reconstruction, which is what we're going to be doing today. So once we've got our skull sorted out, we need to find a way to digitize it. You can do that with photogrammetry, with photographs, you can do it with scanning. The method that we use here is the Artec 3D scanner, and I'm going to pass you over to Viviana, who's going to explain what that is.
Thank you. Okay, so the way that 3D scanning works is that we have this scanner connected to a laptop with the Artec software, and there's a few cameras that will take pictures all around as we move, and the software will piece them together. Trigger warning, there's going to be a lot of flashing lights when I turn this on, so if you're photosensitive, please just skip. So the way that we do it is we can see when we point the scanner to the object, we will get feedback on the monitor. So I'm going to start scanning, and as I go around, the software will pick up all of the details that I'm showing it. And so I move up and down and to the sides to try and get as much detail as possible. So once we are done with scanning, we end up with a series of scans that need to be cleaned and process them before we can align them. And as a result, after they're cleaned and aligned, we will get something like this that then we can fuse together to have one complete piece of the skull that we can then use going forward with the reconstruction.
Once you're happy with your process piece, you export it into an STL file and bring it into a next set of softwares. This software is called Freeform, and it allows you to manipulate your 3D object in a physical way on a digital platform. We actually have these special haptic arms which allows you to feel the resistance of the material you're working with and allows you to do some really interesting work. You can see here that this is the scan that we did earlier. Once it's imported and you're happy with that, you can add in some of the other fragments of the skull. you can see here that I've rebuilt the vault of this individual by attaching the frontal bone to the rest of the vault, like so. Once you've done this enough times, you are then able to attach the mandible. Now the mandible is a really tricky area to attach because it actually has a joint. So the joint is the TMJ, the temporal mandibular joint, and it's the joint that you can feel when you're eating. So the head of the mandible sits in the TMJ just in here like this. Once you've got that aligned properly, you can then flip over to the teeth, and you use the morphology of the mouth and the shape of the teeth, the wear patterns and how they sit with each other, to position and refine the position of the mouth. This is especially difficult because people tend to have overbites, underbites, or some sort of dental pathology. Once you're happy with the overall positioning of the skull, you then start doing tissue depth marking.